only just a little bit more time left to get your ballots in. Many people within the sound of our voices this morning have them in their hands. You won't go to the polls. You just got to go and turn those ballots in. We'll talk about that coming up.
I'm Gabby Crevitt, and tonight I'll tell you how a nonprofit organization in Gallatin County is helping refugees in Missoula County feel a little more at home.
Good morning to you and welcome to your Monday. Happy post-daylight savings to you all.
It's perfect. Here it is at 6:30.
I feel great.
Or whatever time of the day
it really feels like.
It is actually 6:30 now, according to the time, for the next 6 months.
My car will say 7:30 until next day.
So my coffee maker and so will our fridge, or our stove for a while too.
Yeah.
I got all the way through ours. Yeah.
Did you change your smoke detectors?
I haven't tested them yet, but
Okay.
I will.
Yes,
I
yes,
will.
yes,
I
yes,
have the
yes.
ladder
Again,
out.
a good reminder.
That
right
is a
now.
good reminder that you always give us for that. Yeah.
Do as I say.
Yeah.
Not as I do. Temperatures this morning into the 30s. There have been a couple of snowflakes out there at times this morning, but really not a big detriment. I was looking at areas out near Bozeman Pass. Right now, the air temperature is sitting at freezing on Bozeman Pass. Ground temperature sitting at 34. So that means the bridges and overpasses have the best potential of seeing some ice on them. So take a little extra time if you're driving Bozeman Pass for the day today. Right now, temperatures expected to be back into the 40s. Our best potential showers coming early in the day before clearing for the afternoon. We're going to break down your complete forecast from the Billion Auto Weather Patio coming up in just a few minutes.
Sounds great, Matt. 6:31. Now, the Bozeman City Commission meets tonight at City Hall, and one of those items on the agenda will be to review the sidewalk crowding in downtown.
Bozeman Downtown Partnership and numerous downtown businesses have requested the city update its downtown sidewalk encroachment policy. Encroachments include sandwich boards, planters, merchandise, and cafe seating.
Now, one of the biggest concerns is to address and update policy to make sure it meets the standards of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The City of Bozeman and the Downtown Partnership have made a framework of policy changes that were introduced back in July. Now, a decision on whether or not to approve those proposed changes will be made tonight. The City Commission meeting begins at 6 p.m. And the Gallatin County Election Department has a few reminders for you to make sure that your vote is counted for tomorrow.
That's right. There are 2 countywide questions about changing county elections from partisan to nonpartisan, and a $59 million bond for a new law and justice center. There are also city offices and commission seats open in Bozeman, Belgrade, Manhattan, Three Forks, and West Yellowstone.
This election is by mail ballot only, meaning there will be no regular polling places open tomorrow on Election Day. If you have not already mailed your ballot, make sure you could just drop it off at the deposit location to avoid any delays. Ballots must be received by 8 p.m. tomorrow night, that is Tuesday, November 5th. If you plan on dropping off somebody else's ballot, be prepared to sign the ballot collection registry form.
Voters can only deposit up to 6 ballots from people other than themselves, and they have to provide that registry form for anyone, including spouses and other household members, when they deposit that ballot at one of our places.
Now make sure that you sign your name on the back of your ballot envelope. Your vote will not be counted without that signature.
We'll, of course, have complete coverage coming up tomorrow night.
Yes.
Also, one of the key local races in that election is the one for Bozeman mayor.
On Friday, we showed you a conversation with the incumbent Cindy Andrus, and now MTN's Kevin Sanfield speaks with her opponent, Brian Lemierre.
So this is your second run at mayor. What's motivating you?
Well, after the first time, I said to myself, oh boy, I'm never going to do that again. But because I do watch every city commission meeting regularly, I just started slowly but surely, some things started happening one after another that just got me riled up again, and I just decided that I gotta step in and try to do something about it. Just to go over them real quick, it was just the way the budget was handled last year, not the current year that we're in, but last year. I do agree with Commissioner Kraus that the city may have violated the spirit of the law by essentially adopting a budget that arguably was not in balance. Revenues were less than expenditures. And then a big reason I'm here and doing this again is just the breakdown in the relationships with other government agencies, especially the county. Okay, I think, and the law enforcement and public safety has my total support, and I know that they needed new quarters, both police and fire. They needed a new building. But I just can't help but think that we'd all be in a better position as not just Bozeman residents, but Gallatin County residents, if we would have found a way to work together better.
Now you can see the full-length versions of those discussions with Brian Lemierre and current Mayor Cindy Andrus on our websites.
6:35 now. Gallatin Refugee Connections held its third annual Welcome Kit Drive at the Fork and Spoon in Bozeman on Sunday.
MTN's Gabby Crevitt has the details on how people in Bozeman are helping refugees in Missoula settle into their new homes.
Gallatin Refugee Connections in Bozeman held its main event of the year this weekend. Volunteers were encouraged to donate household necessities to build kits for newly resettled refugees in Missoula.
I think people often say, well, what can I do? Well, this is one thing that they can do. They can help at this level.
The idea was to explore how we could help refugees and decided that what we could do at the moment was help those that are already arriving in Missoula. So we organized our first kit drive 3 years ago.
Many refugees settling in Missoula are from Eritrea and the Congo.
When they hear they're coming to Montana, they have no idea. Where's Montana? Where's Missoula? What is this place like? Nobody where they are in a refugee camp has ever heard of Montana.
But receiving the welcome kits makes settling in a little easier.
One thing that one of the couples said was he just feels this tremendous love from people in Montana.
Gallatin Refuge Connections hopes to fill this entire U-Haul with bedding, bathroom, and kitchen materials, so it's full for its trip to Missoula on Sunday. Gallatin Refugee Connections works directly with the International Rescue Committee and Soft Landing in Missoula to make sure home necessities go directly to newly resettled refugees. And people in Bozeman are eager to be a part of the welcome.
It just shows me the generosity of people in Bozeman.
We got a lot of big hearts in this valley, and it's really humbling to kind of see how generous people have been.
In Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
I just love that story. Now, Gallatin Refugee Connections also works on raising awareness about the global refugee crisis throughout educational events. Of course, you can learn more about those and also how to get involved on our website as well.
It is Monday, and that means it's time for this week's Under the Big Sky bonus video.
In it, Zachary Jones shares his thoughts on how grazing is the key to the value in our Montana soil.
Under the Big Sky is sponsored by Rocky Mountain Vein Clinic and Markovich Real Estate.
We have a lot of things going on in our environment. The improper grazing and farming of our landscapes has led to a massive burn-off of carbon from our soil into the atmosphere. Some studies actually show that between 30, maybe to even up to 50% of the legacy load of CO2 in the atmosphere, the increase from pre-industrial age levels, is from the soil, not from fossil reserves. We're talking about carbon in the soil. Grazing differently can not only stop that, but it can start to rebuild the organic carbon levels in our soils and sequester carbon back into it. There's soils in the Midwest that went from like 12% organic levels, now down to like 2 to 3%. Same thing here in Montana, a little bit less degradation, but our soil carbon levels have been decimated down to very low levels too. Getting those levels back up to 12% is absolutely huge. We have to stop soil erosion, we have to sequester carbon, and we also have to increase our water cycle ability so we have less floods. More water needs to stay in the land instead of flooding off right away. There's no fancy technology that Google or Amazon or some company is going to make that's going to be able to go out and access all of these acres and change things. There are animals grazing most surfaces of the earth every day. So we already have these agents out there that can influence and stop and then reverse these trends. Without a doubt, the changing of the way we graze and farm is the most impactful thing we can do and that we have influence over right now.
Now, of course, you can watch our Yellowstone grass-fed beef story and all of our other current stories under thebigsky.com. We do have to take a quick break here on your kind of chilly, kind of snowy, not so snowy Monday morning. Let's take a look on CBS this morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, we're now 1 year from Election Day. Voters tell us what issues matter most to them. Plus, 60 Minutes' John Dickerson joins us with what to expect from the candidates. Also, take a flight in a plane with new auto landing technology. All right, we'll show you how the system is expected to save lives. Also, one-on-one with Iggy Pop, the iconic punk rocker reveals new insights about his legendary career and tells Anthony what makes his new album unique. We'll see you at 7.